What up, YouTube? My name is Jake Asman. Welcome in to my channel. Happy Wednesday if you're watching this on a Wednesday morning as we go live here on the page to talk New York Jets football. Jets and Packers getting set for a joint practice coming up in just a few hours. They'll have another one tomorrow on Thursday, and then, of course, off day or walkthrough on Friday. Second preseason game on Saturday at Lambeau Field. More on that, more on Zach Wilson. But first, I am one subscriber away from 6,000. One away. So if you're watching this for the first time, do me a favor. Please subscribe down below. If you watch the videos anyway and you haven't subscribed, well, please help me out so I can continue to post great content covering the Jets and the things that you care about. If you already do subscribe, then please like this video down below as well. And if you want to interact with me on Twitter or Instagram, you could tweet me or message me at Jake Asman. Just follow me there. All right, let's talk New York Jets football. Let's talk all about Zach Wilson. So I was reading some quotes from Robert Saleh yesterday, and he was asked, well, how long should we expect to see Zach Wilson against the Packers on Saturday? And the quote was this: hoping to get him a couple of series, just like we did against the Giants, maybe a couple more after that, maybe one or two more. We'll see. We've got to talk towards the end of the week, see how these practices go. So Zach Wilson played 2 series against the Giants last Saturday. He looked good, 6 of 9, 61 yards. What was impressive to me, as we talked about in a previous video, was the throws he made on third down. 2 of 2 on throws of 10-plus yards for 25 yards. You're not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL unless you're good on third down. It was nice to see Zach Wilson come out and play really well on third down against the Giants. Now, the Giants didn't have a bunch of their starters, so you obviously put that in context. But if he played poorly, First Take and all these other national shows would be hammering Wilson because he didn't look good, and Justin Fields against backups look great. So obviously take preseason football with a grain of salt. You got to put everything in perspective. But, we heard Zach Wilson didn't have a great green and white scrimmage. Okay, well, first real NFL game, so to speak. He bounced back and looked good. Now this week, it's gonna be interesting to see what you hear from these joint practices in the next couple of days, because Wilson's going up against a Packers defense that is very good, a Packers defense that has good players in their secondary, a Packers defensive front that could rush the quarterback. We're going to see Zach Wilson go up against Jair Alexander in the Packers secondary. The Packers used their first-round pick on Eric Stokes out of Georgia. He's supposedly having a nice camp, I was reading so far. So it is a step up in competition as far as the outside corners that Wilson's going to face. We all understand the Jets are going with a youth movement at corner, so there's going to be mistakes that get made, especially in training camp. So it's a nice test this week for Zach Wilson. And honestly, we'll get to what to expect from him on the during the actual game on Saturday. But what he does, I think, at the joint practices is far more important, because you could simulate game reps over and over and over again. And that's why a lot of teams have been doing more and more joint practices over the year. A lot of coaches that I personally have spoken to feel that you could accomplish more at a joint practice than you maybe could in a game. In a game, if you're trying to make the team on special teams, well, obviously it's live. There's tackle, that you can make plays on special teams in a preseason game that you don't necessarily get the opportunity to do in a joint practice because it's very limited contact. But as far as like quarterback reps, what we need to see from Zach this week is going to be happening at these joint practices when he actually goes up against the Packers ones rather than a bunch of backups that are expected to play for Green Bay on Saturday. So look, it's tough to know exactly where Wilson's at because he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. He's also going to have some wow moments. And at the end of the day, I think all this experience is good for him long term. The Jets, to me, have handled Wilson right. They're not messing around saying, he's competing for the job. No, he's your starting quarterback. Give him the reps. This year is all about his development. This is a 2-win football team a year ago. They win 6 games. They tripled their win total, right? So the expectations for the Jets nationally are low. I think they can be better than what people realize, but it depends on the type of year that Wilson has, because I think around him, there's some talent. I think the coaching is such an upgrade over, the previous regime. That goes without saying, but it's going to come down to, what Zach Wilson is as a rookie. So don't mess around in training camp and in these preseason games. Have him go out there and have him be the guy from day one, which the Jets have done. where you might be saying, well, Jake, isn't that obvious? Apparently it's not, because if you've been following the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I do local radio here in Houston from 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN 97.5, we actually talked about this on the show yesterday. Urban Meyer still has not named Trevor Lawrence the starting quarterback. It doesn't make any sense. And you're taking away reps at practice when you're allowing Gardner Minshew, who's not your future, to get reps with the ones. It doesn't make any sense. So I love the fact that the Jets have just said, Zach, you're the guy. Take all the reps, get the experience. That's how you try and develop a young quarterback. So that certainly excites me as a Jet fan, that I think the Jets have the right plan in place, unlike Jacksonville, for developing Zach Wilson. Jacksonville's too concerned with signing Tim Tebow and then cutting him and having to deal with that, or hiring, a racist strength coach that they had to can after a day and a half because of public backlash. People don't want to admit it, but you rather be the Jets than the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I don't think that's a stretch. We'll see, what Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson end up being, but I feel way better about Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas than I do about Urban Meyer, who's never been in the NFL before, running everything down in Jacksonville. But time will tell. It'll be interesting to see if there is a rivalry between the Jets and all 7 Jaguars fans. We will find out. Anyhow, as far as playing time on Saturday, I don't know if Zach Wilson needs to play more than 2-3 series. He's going up against the Packers backups. Let's see how he looks at these training camp practices the next couple of days, right? The joint practice here on Wednesday is getting set to, get underway in about 2 hours. We'll see how he looks on Thursday against Green Bay. You don't need a whole lot from Zach Wilson in this game on Saturday. I just want him to stay healthy. So the less he plays, there's a less of a chance of him obviously getting hurt. I think it goes without saying, don't pull a Mark Sanchez, Rex Ryan, Snoopy Ball fiasco and put Wilson out there when he's not with the starting offensive line. Like, anytime Zach Wilson's on the field, he better have Mekhi Becton, Morgan Moses out there, bookending the offensive line of the tackle spot. Goes without saying, but look, we're Jet fans, so we've seen, obviously, things go without saying that don't end up happening. But I don't know if he needs to play more than 2 or 3 series. It's the second preseason game. Robert Saleh has already said that the starters will play in the third preseason game, which would be about 2.5 weeks out from the start of the regular season at that point. So I don't think we need to see Wilson play more than 2 or 3 series. And I think that's what Saleh said. He played 2 against the Giants. He looked good. You're going up against the Packers backups. So honestly, we'll see how these joint practices go the next 2 days. And then you can reevaluate where you're exactly at with Zach Wilson. I do have the quote from Saleh as far as these practices this week. He said yesterday, quote, part of the process is getting better, is getting reps, as many different looks as possible. Saleh said, referencing, what Wilson could do this week. Quote, like I've said, I think these practices are priceless. We've got to talk towards the end of the week and see how these practices go. So look, we won't know exactly how long Zach Wilson's going to play on Saturday, but again, I don't think he needs to play more than 2 or 3 series. He'll get most of his work done today and on Thursday, going up against the actual ones on the Green Bay Packers. Him being healthy is by far and away the most important thing for this football team. Another note here to get to. I think Quinnen Williams is in the perfect spot to hopefully be the all-pro player the Jets thought they were drafting when they took him 3rd overall. You don't take a guy that's a defensive tackle 3rd overall unless you think he's a future all-pro. And last year, Quinnen Williams broke out. He looked like a guy that was well on his way to being a Pro Bowler, and then he, of course, was injured, so we didn't get to see that happen. But you look at Quinnen Williams, and I was down on him after his rookie year, but he got so much better last year. Now, you look at Quinnen Williams entering what is about to be his 3rd season now in the NFL, and I think you could kind of see the writing on the wall that the Jets are expecting a monster year out of him. I mean, Saleh just called him, just the biggest piece of mass ever. I think you look at Quinnen Williams, his first 2 seasons in the NFL, he was in a 3-4 defense. Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich, the Jets' new defensive coordinator, they run a 4-3, which is the same defense Quinnen Williams starred in at Alabama with Nick Saban, who's one of the great defensive minds in the history of football. So you look at Quinnen Williams now going back to a system in a 4-3 that probably suits him better, armed with better players around him, and that's key, right? Carl Lawson's now going to take a lot of attention on the outside, and if you want to double team Carl Lawson, great. Good luck trying to block Quinnen Williams in single coverage up front. Not to mention you have Bryce Huff, John Franklin Myers, Vinny Curry eventually when he comes back. Sheldon Rankins is a giant piece of mass in the middle that could have a big impact. So I like what we're seeing from the Jets defensive line. Quinn Williams, I bring him up because he's going to be practicing these next couple days against Green Bay. He will not play in the game on Saturday. So we will see how he looks. One thing about Williams that I thought was pretty cool is that he was studying Fletcher Cox and Sue in the offseason. Those two guys, obviously two of the better defensive tackles in the NFL over the last however many years Fletcher and Sue have been in the league. 4-3 defensive tackles, though. Those guys know how to play the system, know how to play that scheme. Quinn Williams studying those guys. That's smart. That's a veteran move for a guy that's going into his third year. So I liked hearing that. Overall, we shall see how the next couple days go in Green Bay. I think the Jets corners are going to be on full display. Look, you're now facing Aaron Rodgers. You're now facing Devontae Adams. You're facing a really good football team. I know it's practice, but you could simulate a lot of reps. So I'm certainly excited to see what the Jets do at these practices. And then we'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure, after this game on Saturday. We'll take a question here from Jason Picker, our guy Jason in Jerusalem, who is kind enough to watch the YouTube video live this morning here on the East Coast. And I'm based in Houston, so in the middle of the country. Jason writes in, what is the difference between a walkthrough / combined practice and the preseason game? Seems to me like there is more for players to gain and better for evaluators in the two-team practice. So I could tell you firsthand, I was at a Texans and Lions joint practice 2 seasons ago, and 3 seasons ago, my first year living here in Houston covering the Texans, I saw the 49ers come to town for a joint practice against the Texans. And I could tell you without question, I think joint practices are more productive because you just get so many more reps, right? If a coach doesn't like the way a play just went, if you're doing a team period 7-on-7 or 11-on-11, there's no rule that says you have to just move on to the next drill. You could stop the drill, run it again. Or you didn't like the way the play went for you. If you're the Jets, all right, Robert Saleh could say to Matt LaFleur, hey, can we run that third down package one more time? I want our defense to get another look at you guys doing that. You collaborate with the team on what you want to see get done in practice. So, a walkthrough is like no contact. You're just running plays. There's no tackling at all. But a combined practice is, basically what the Jets do now, but you're facing a different team. So you're seeing different players, different tendencies, different reps. I think preseason games are for special teams players, right? If you're an NFL kicker, you need the preseason. You can't simulate, the crowd and the pressure of actually kicking in a game like you could in a random practice where there's no fans. So preseason to me is way more about, punt return, kick return guys, blockers on special teams, punters, kickers. Whereas a combined practice, you see more and more teams going to it because they think it's far more productive because you can get more reps. The only thing you don't do in a joint practice is it's not live, right? So no Jet's going to come close to touching Aaron Rodgers. No Jet is going to come close to, or no Packer's going to come close to touching Zach Wilson. If they do, you're going to get a brawl. That's usually how that goes. So I think you do get a lot more done in joint practices, which is why more and more teams are doing it. And the Jets have a joint practice next week against the Philadelphia Eagles. So we will see Jalen Hurts and former Jet legend Joe Flacco go up against the New York Jets. B. Lewis writes in, can't wait to see some of these Jets defensive jailbreak rushes. Yeah, I'm excited to see these creative blitz packages, to see, what Quinn Williams looks like. The Jets have depth on defensive line, something we have not been able to say for 10 years, maybe? I mean, even when the Jets were good in 2009, 2010, 2011, right? They had good players up front, but it was because of the secondary that we knew, what Calvin Pace and Sean Ellis and some of those guys were capable of. They were nice. They weren't bad, but the Jets have never had, an elite defensive line since, I don't know, the sack exchange. Maybe it's been obviously a very long time. Kevin also writes in, what round would you consider drafting Moore or Wilson in fantasy? Rookie quarterbacks are tough. If you're in a keeper league, maybe you take a flyer on Zach Wilson late, but rookie quarterbacks are really tough. You just don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm sure a lot of fantasy football players maybe didn't even draft Justin Herbert last year. All of a sudden, he's thrust into action in week 2, and he ends up being the best rookie quarterback statistically that we maybe have ever seen. So I would probably stay away from drafting Wilson in fantasy unless you're in a really, really deep league and you just need to take players. I think he's a guy that you take a flyer on for sure. And if you're in a keeper league, then yeah, I mean, I think Zach Wilson's a franchise quarterback. I think he has high upside. So you certainly take him late. Elijah Moore is interesting because he might be the best Jets offensive player already when it's all said and done. Corey Davis is the number one, but man, you could see why the Jets are so in love with Elijah Moore. He's going to get a lot of playing time. He's going to get a lot of reps in the screen game, in the slot, deep over the middle. They're not just going to use him as a slot guy. He's going to be used all over this offense. So I am very excited to see what Elijah Moore could do. I don't know how high you should draft him, though. I guess it depends on your league. Is it PPR, right? You get 1 point per reception. Then I think Moore is probably more valuable than half point PPR. It's always tricky when you draft a rookie, but sometimes hitting on the rookie in the right spot could be the difference in winning or losing your league, Kevin. So I'm probably not the right guy to ask because I really don't know where Elijah Moore is going in fantasy football right now. Sam G writes in, people are seriously underestimating the Jets this season. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think they are the most improved team in the NFL. Now, I say that by going, well, obviously they won 2 games. Look at the talent that's now on this team. But, even still people look at the Jets and I see them ranked near the bottom of the league as far as, what people expect from them. I think they're a lot better than people realize. I had someone on my radio show on Sports Map Radio over the weekend, and, I was talking about the Jets win total, and this person totally shot down the idea that the Jets were going to be a lot better. And I'm like, well, why do you think that? And this person goes, well, they only added Corey Davis to their wide receiver room. And it's like, hello, they did way more than that. Keelan Cole's here. They now have Denzel Mims healthy for year 2. Jamison Crowder's back. Obviously, Elijah Moore could be a real player. They're going to be better coached. I mean, 2 years ago, the Jets did somehow win 7 games with Adam Gase. I understand the schedule was weaker and all that, but the NFL is very year to year is my point. Like, we've seen teams all the time go from really bad to competitive and sometimes even really bad to making the playoffs. So I do tend to agree. I think people are underestimating the Jets, but if they want to be a lot better than anyone thinks, then it comes down to, what Zach Wilson is as a rookie. We'll take a couple more here. Then I got to head to Texans training camp practice to get ready for that. The Wicked 50 Cal writes in, if you're the Jets, do you trade for Borregales just to guarantee that you have a potentially good kicker? I don't know what the Jets are going to do at kicker. It sounds like the guy they currently have, they're going to give him all the chances in the world to be the guy, but that's why these next couple of weeks are important. Would have been nice if the Jets just paid Jason Myers, who made the Pro Bowl, but that's a Mike McCagnon thing, not a Joe Douglas thing, so I can't get on the current regime for that. But yeah, I mean, you want to figure out your kicking situation. If you're going to overachieve, you're going to win a lot of close games. Having a good kicker is important. Robert Saleh said yesterday that, they're going to be looking at that position, so we shall see. More likely to make the roster, Vincent Smith or Braxton Berrios? I think both guys probably make the team, to be honest. I think Vincent Smith is good on special teams. Braxton Berrios has a role. They like him. Apparently, he's had good chemistry with Zach Wilson. I think both guys make the team when it's all said and done. It will depend on special teams, though. Obviously, new coaching staff will have their preferences on who they like. All right. If we play balanced football with strong defense and a decent running game and Zach keeps the turnover low, it would really surprise you if we stay in the playoff hunt. Representing the Jets in Malaysia. How about that? Thank you for watching the channel. I think playoffs are too high of an expectation right now because you look at the division the Jets are in and just how good the AFC is. But I will say this. There are 7 teams now that make the playoffs. There's always a team that was not in the playoffs a year ago that makes the playoffs the following year. It's going to depend on the play of the quarterback and some of these young players. I'm not expecting the playoffs, but I will tell you this. Crazier things have happened. I think if the Jets could go out there and they're in the mix for a playoff spot, later in the season, that's already an accomplishment. I mean, hell, if the Jets are relevant by Columbus Day this year, folks, that's already an improvement over, what we've seen under Adam Gase the last couple of years. Even the year they won 7-9, they started 1-7. Sam had mono. The season was over already. So just being competitive, getting these guys some experience, that's going to be really important for them going forward. Sometimes you never know, right? Remember, the Dolphins were supposed to be awful last year. They won 10 games. So you just don't know. I mean, it depends on coaching, depends on quarterback play. We shall see. But playoffs, I'm not there yet, but obviously a lot could change between now and the end of the regular season. I just want this team to get better, young players to develop. Then the Jets use all their draft capital, all their salary cap flexibility, and really take a massive step forward in 2022, because I think that's where they are certainly building to. All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching this channel. Once again, I'm one away from 6,000 as I record this. So please, if you're new to the channel, Subscribe down below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Asman. Like this video down below as well. Great talking Jets with you guys. I will talk to you all soon. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.